by Daniel, Alex, Rayner, and Roth. All right, so historical overview. The founders of Microsoft were Bill Gates and Paul Allen. They originally started the company to develop the Altair 8800, which was an earlier personal computer. In 1980, they made a deal with IBM and released Windows in 1985. And by the late 1980s, they were the world's largest personal computer software company. One event that affected Microsoft was the creation of the Xbox. Before this, their presence in the market was pretty small, and they stayed in the realm of businesses. This product was a success considering the market for gaming consoles at the time was pretty competitive. In 2006, they released the Zune MP3 player, which was a complete flop. The company's timing was awful considering Apple had just released their iPod 5 years ago. The company had to switch their tactics from trying to force dominance in the market to creating better products than their competitors.
In terms of their resources at Microsoft, they are relatively more labor intensive than Apple and Google, their two main competitors. Currently, Microsoft employs around 228,000 employees worldwide, while Apple and Google are around 160 and 180,000 respectively. In terms of their capital expenditures, it's currently a 55% increase. They reported $13.87 billion in Q2 of this year, and it is expected to continue rising. Part of this is due to the emergence of generative AI. It's led to more spending on servers and processors, which is giving them a greater ability to profit from the rise in AI, which is again, as you would see in the capital expenditures. And in terms of labor, more employees should equate to accomplishing more, which is why they have many regional operations centers around the world and having over 200,000 employees. They split up their employees pretty evenly between international and the US. Their main headquarters is located in Washington, and there's a slight advantage to how many workers are in the US. In terms of production, there are sites in Ireland, which helps to facilitate work for Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. There's one in Singapore, which is working in Asia, including China and India, and then several in the US that are servicing North and Latin America. In the United States, Microsoft also consumes more products than the rest of the world combined. They have taken steps to digitally transform their IT for global efficiency. This graph below shows how many Xboxes worldwide have been sold over the span of the product, and currently North America is far ahead. Um, the main markets for Microsoft include server products and cloud services, Office products and services, and then gaming. And currently, the FTC has put a wide-ranging antitrust probe into Microsoft because of their new AI that they have been integrating.
Okay, for demand and supply analysis, Microsoft has window commercial products and cloud services revenue that has increased by 5% recently, driven by the demand for Microsoft 365. Microsoft does not offer discounted packages off of the 365 for low income consumers. So, being a virtual product company mostly, Microsoft relies heavily on all their AI programming and production, making them dominant and very efficient since there is barely any human error integrated into this production that they have. On the supply side of things for Microsoft, with the increase in AI technologies, Microsoft will be able to cut costs on their production, and this will allow them to increase their overall economic profit for their company. For the demand side of things, Microsoft is currently missing out on some low-income consumers, which could hurt their overall demand product. If they lowered their prices for packages like the Microsoft 365, they might be able to entice more customers to purchase their products. And here we could see two graphs analyzing this demand and supply for Microsoft. One is hypothetical.
So the elasticity of demand, Microsoft is known for having a lot of power in the market, and that's why their demand leans toward inelastic because there are other companies at the top with them, like Apple and Google. What this means for their pricing strategy is that they need to be careful about how they increase prices, even though they have some market power and loyalty from their customers. If they dramatically increase their prices, they're going to lose a number of customers, but not enough to actually hurt the company. Income elasticity. So Microsoft has made $109 million in operating income, and they're up 24% this year compared to last year. This shows that income is relatively elastic. This means that as customers make more money, they tend to sell more product. The 24% increase in operating income shows how effectively Microsoft can capitalize on increasing consumer incomes, further showing the elasticity of demand for its offerings in response to the economic growth. Cross-price elasticity. Microsoft's cross-price elasticity is negative because their software and computers are considered complementary products. If people aren't buying the computer, then they're not going to need to buy the software, like their Windows platform, to go along with it. This negative cross-price elasticity shows that a price increase in computers may lead to a decrease in demand for Microsoft software as consumers may be less willing or able to purchase the products together.
Okay, moving into production and cost. Um, we see two main cost types, fixed and variable. So um, fixed costs would be research and development for products like Windows, maintaining server infrastructure for cloud services such as Azure, um, the salaries themselves for, different teams and employees would be an example of a fixed cost, and another one would be the cost of maintaining the actual intellectual property rights. Variable costs would be um, manufacturing physical copies of the software, um, and marketing expenses tied to specific product launches. So Microsoft measures labor productivity primarily through its productivity score, this tool analyzes how employees use different applications in Microsoft, such as Excel. It considers like different factors, um, like meeting duration and document collaboration, and uses all these to come up with a productivity score. Um, Another thing is economies of scale are highly significant, because they benefit from spreading their fixed costs across a large user base, particularly in the cloud services, leading to lower per unit costs with increased production volume. Um, Microsoft is considered a monopoly in the operating system and PC market, but it is an oligopoly in the cloud computing market. Microsoft has a large and stable market share, but they also have high barriers to entry for competitors. The company's competitive position, pricing power, and main rivals include Apple, Google, Oracle, and SAP. Um, However, Microsoft can raise prices for some of its products in both elastic and inelastic ways, depending on the product and elasticity of demand. Also, people who are um, more have bought Microsoft in the past and like their product are more likely to continue to stick with Microsoft in the future. Um, Microsoft has used several barriers to entry to maintain its monopoly in the market. Um, so, for example, Microsoft's operating system Windows has over 70,000 applications written, and it makes it difficult for competitors to attract consumers or independent software vendors away from Windows. Microsoft's operating system is familiar to corporate employees, which can attract corporate consumers. Microsoft's monopoly gave it control over innovation, which it used to harm consumers. Um, the market structure influences Microsoft's strategies and profitability, excuse me. Um, it maintains market share through innovation, product diversification, and aggressive marketing. Their large market share allows them to invest heavily in new technologies and expand into new markets, but also necessitates a constant focus on maintaining their leading position. Um, there has been some government regulation put on Microsoft. For example, in the 1990s, the US government sued Microsoft for trying to monopolize the personal computer market. Um, this the charges brought against the company involved different sections of the Sherman Antitrust Act, which include laws designed by governments in order to ensure fair competition in the market.
Going on about these government regulations, externalities, there are some positive externalities. For one, Microsoft's operating system allows users to run many programs into one singular interface, which can reduce the cost of using other operating systems. But there are some negative externalities. Microsoft has been accused recently of predatory pricing and market foreclosure for the Xbox gaming consoles. Some critics have also accused Microsoft for locking consumers and vendors into all their products. Recently, the FTC has implemented an antitrust probe for Microsoft regarding their new form of OpenAI. They are primarily focusing on achieving carbon neutrality, water positivity, and responsible waste management by investing in renewable energy, optimizing data center efficiency, and implementing water conservation practices all across their operations.
This is our SWOT analysis. So starting off with strengths, Microsoft has a really strong brand. So people who have bought them before and are impressed with the product are more likely to go back and repurchase Microsoft. They also have a significant stock capitalization, and they are one of their market leaders. So they have very few competitors, which is definitely a strength because it can lead to them being price makers instead of price takers. They also are a global leader. They have financial strength and have a lot of different investments because of a diverse product portfolio. And they have strong innovation capabilities.
So some of their weaknesses is that they depend on the PC market, and we kind of have this market that's trending toward more mobile devices. So that could be something they need to work out and look ahead for. One of their biggest weaknesses is their lack of product innovation, and this like kind of affects their ability to make new versions of the Windows and compete with the products that Google and Apple are producing. And then in the interest of like browser segments, they need to improve upon that segment as well.
There are good opportunities for Microsoft, such as expansion into the cloud services, also with the growth of AI and machine learning advancements. There is going to be huge opportunities for growth there. Also, remote work opportunities will provide situations where their employees can actually find ways that their work can better suit their life, and that will then translate to better productivity. They are working with strategic partnerships with other companies to, again, improve their profits and their product output. And then the gaming industry has continued to grow and will continue to grow, and Microsoft is a huge player in that industry.
However, though, there are some threats with Microsoft. One of them is intense competition from other rival companies like Apple or Google. There are also rapidly changing technology landscapes. There are cybersecurity risks that everyone bears, and there are regulatory challenges and open source competitions that Microsoft also faces.
So in terms of the stock itself, we would recommend a buy. And
We think that the strengths outweigh the weaknesses The advancements in AI are a huge opportunity for Microsoft to open up and expand their business. Yeah.
Yep. The opportunities they have are too great.
Yeah.